Hello everybody. Welcome to Creating the Basic Adaptable Game Engine Library, Part 51, Asteroids Rocks. So, we're recreating the classic arcade game Asteroids. In the previous video, we added a background and we got the spaceship movement controls working. In this video, we're going to add the rocks, because what is Asteroids without those floating space rocks? So, let's begin by heading back over to our code. So here we are, and so far our game has a spaceship and a background sprite. Now we want to go ahead and create the rocks. Now we don't want to create an individual variable for every single rock. That's bad programming practice. We're not going to do it. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and create a group to contain all the instances of rocks, and we'll initialize those in the initialize method with a for loop. Let's go ahead and say a public group called a rock group. And then in the initialize method, let's go ahead and say rock group equals a new group. And let's also declare an int called rock count. How many rocks do we want? Maybe we'll start with something like 6. Just this will make our code more readable, and let's go. For int I equals 0, I less than rock count, I plus plus. All right, we're going to go ahead and create a new rock and add it to our rock group. And so to begin, I'm going to go ahead and create a texture. I just can create one single texture that all the different rocks can share. So let's say texture rock text equals a new texture object. Images slash, I actually call this one asteroids.png. Mostly because in the other game, the Starfish Collector game, we already had a sprite called rock. So that's called asteroids. And here, let's make a new sprite called rock. That's a new sprite. Rock.set texture to be the rock texture. And rock, a rock group dot add rock. And we need to do a couple more things as well. We need to set the starting position for each rock. However, I can't really just set it to a random number. If we were to do that, it's possible that rocks could start and randomly spawn on top of this spaceship, and that wouldn't be very fair. So I'll generate random numbers, but in a slightly different way than you might expect. Instead of generating the x and y coordinates, what I'll do is create a random angle. So let me say, let's say a double. Let's call this double angle is equal to, not a new, this is a number. So let's say 360 times math.random. And let's also set up a distance that we want the rocks to be away from the player. So basically, spoiler, I'm going to go ahead and place all the rocks at around a circle centered on the player's spaceship. And so let's go ahead and say double angle, and then, well, if I'm going to use math sine and math cosine, I really want this to be 2 pi times that. Or I could make it even more clear and say 2 times math.pi. All right, so that's going to be my random angle. Then I want to say rock.setPosition to be, actually, let's calculate the x and y first. And so double x is going to be equal to the starting position of the spaceship, which is at 400, plus math.cos times angle. Right? And so we want to move it maybe, I don't know, 100 units away. So 400 plus 100 times cosine. And then the y coordinate is going to be similar. Right? For the y, we use math.sine. A little bit of trigonometry goes a long way. And then finally, I'll use that to set the initial position of the rock. So rock.setPosition to be x and y. All right, so this should space the rocks kind of around the player at a distance of about 100 units. We might need to change the size of this radius, but we'll check that in a moment. Oh, one other thing I need to change. The starting y position of the spaceship is actually 300. I could actually make this code a little bit clearer. Maybe if I said spaceship.position.x plus 100 and spaceship.position.y plus 100. All right, let's go ahead and try this. Again, hopefully we'll see a total of 6 rocks spaced around the ship. We're going to go ahead and run this, see what happens. Oh, something's not good. What was the error code down here? Invalid URL. So let's see, asteroids.png. Is that the correct file name? Oh, I think I called it asteroid single. That makes sense. The picture is of a single asteroid. All right, let's try one more time. Running asteroids, hopefully the image file loads correctly. And we'll see a ring of asteroids. Actually, we won't. I can actually tell you one more problem we're going to have with this code. Okay. Can you pause and see what it is? All right, no asteroids yet. We did add all of the asteroids or the rocks to the rock group, but the rock group has not been added to the main group yet. Group.add rock group. And we need to make sure that everything is added. All right, third time's the charm, as they say. All right, and sure enough, there are some rocks. You can see they kind of make a circle around the spaceship. Just for fun, let's do even more. Let's do something like 60. And just to make sure it works, I want to make sure we're getting the full circle. So spawning 60 rocks around our spaceship, what happens? Yep, sure enough. That's kind of a snug fit. I might increase that angle just a bit. Right, so maybe we'll change this to a distance of 250 to get things started. Let's make this a more reasonable number once again. All right, so we've got our rocks. We also need to give each one a physics object. All right, so let's also say rock.setPhysics to be a new physics object. In this case, rocks are not accelerating and they're not decelerating. They're going at a constant speed. Let's see, what should I set that speed? Maybe 100? All right, so remember, this only sets the maximum speed. I still need to set the actual speed of each rock. And I'll do that next. We do that through the physics object. So we'll set speed to 100. And we'll also maybe physics set motion angle to be that angle that was previously calculated. Right, this will also get them all moving kind of away from the spaceship to start. However, all sprites in our game should also be wrapping around the screen. So the last thing I really need to add is an action that automatically handles wrap. So action dot wrap to screen, and that screen is 800 by 600. All right, if this goes according to plan, we should see those rocks all moving away from the spaceship and then eventually wrapping around the screen. Let's go ahead and give this a run. Then later on, once we start playtesting, we might decide to change the size of the rocks. That doesn't look right at all. Oh, the reason it doesn't look right is when we use set motion angle, right? Set motion angle, the functions that we wrote are set up to use degrees. But when we use the math functions directly, that's going to use radians. So what I actually need to do here is set motion angle math.2 degrees. Maybe I'll move that down to the next line so it's more readable, and try that again. And again, hopefully the rocks will be moving away. Yep, they all split and they move away. And then once they've wrapped on the screen, and it does look like they're moving at kind of randomish angles. Cool. Yeah, I think we could actually make this look even a little bit cooler. What if we made the rocks spin around? For no particular reason. All right, let's say maybe we'll add another action. Rock.add action. And this is going to be an infinite action. I want them to spin around forever. So I need to nest an action here. Action.forever. Action.rotate by. I want to rotate maybe by 360 degrees every 2 seconds. I'm not sure how that'll be for speed, but we'll give it a try. And this will make them look a little bit more dynamic, maybe. Yep, sure enough, they're all rotating. Yep, now the only thing I don't like about it, everything's rotating kind of too uniformly. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe add a little bit more randomization in here. See how all the rotations are in sync? Right, so maybe let's say rotate speed. Let's make a double called rotate speed. That's going to be equal to, let's see, so instead of doing a full revolution every 2 seconds, maybe we'll do it somewhere between like 1 and 3 seconds. So this will be 2 times math.random plus 1. Right, so here we'll get a random range of 0 to 2. Adding 1 makes the range from 1 to 3. And so 360, comma, rotate speed. All right. Now let's go ahead and try that. They should all look a little bit different. Is there anything else? Yeah, you know what else I could do? Let's also change the movement speed. I do like a bit of randomness in a game. It's easy to add with a line of code, but just makes it feel a little bit better. Let's change up the speeds a little bit as well. So let's say move speed is equal to maybe we want the speeds to range between maybe 90 to 120. Right, so that's a range of 30. So I'll do 30 times math.random plus 90. And again, this will give us a range from 0 to 120. And I'll make that the move speed. All right, let's go ahead and give this a run. In theory, you could even go so far as to change the size of each of the asteroids as well. All right, and there they go. They're moving slightly different speeds. All right, it's a subtle effect, but I like it. So great, we've added the rocks to our game. They're cruising around. The next thing we need to add is some way to deal with these rocks. So in the next video, we'll learn how to get the spaceship to shoot lasers. And that's it for this one. Thanks for watching.